Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm excited to bring you a first impressions of Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. I have about 8 or 9 hours of playtime invested into the game already. And I just gotta say, this game is overwhelmingly huge and overwhelmingly cool. It's so creative, it's so fun, and even the simplistic, trivial stuff is so much fun, like the puzzles and the abilities, and I don't even know where to start, but I must start with the story. So far, in my humble opinion, and this means a lot considering Breath of the Wild's beginning was super solid, Tears of the Kingdom has one of the coolest starting sequences for a video game I have experienced in a very long time. It's simple, it gets the job done, but they do it in such a way that it's extremely tasteful and extremely well done. Just so much love and care has obviously been put into this game, and I'm glad that they delayed it a little bit from their 2022 release window, because man, this game absolutely is cram-packed with so much cool stuff. But yeah, the story right off the bat is super intriguing. It'll make you ask tons of questions. You know, Ganon, I believe that's who he is at least, wakes up, summons this blight on Link. Link, you know, his arm gets injured. The Master Sword frickin' breaks. So crazy. So insane, actually, thinking about that. And then, you know, Zelda and Link, they get separated, and that's kind of where you pick up. Link is badly injured. Rauru, one of the Zonai, which was like this highly intellectual race that kind of came before like the Hylians and all that stuff. Kind of the creators of Hyrule itself. He kind of amputates Link's arm and replaces it with his own that was holding down Ganon, or the Demon King, the entire time. Now, I don't know if the entities are separate. I don't know if it's Ganon for sure, but he's always referenced as the Demon King, so I would assume that's the Demon King, so I would assume, therefore, it's Ganondorf. However, regardless, the story is super awesome, and without getting into too many spoilers, that's how the game kicks off in the first 10-15 minutes. And the opening section, the tutorial, Breath of the Wild's tutorial was so good, but it was almost directionless. You didn't really have a great idea of where to go, how to do things, you know, how to cook, how to, you know, parry. You figured it all out by yourself. And that was great for its story, because Link had lost all of his memory, and, you know, you have to relearn everything from scratch. So you as the player learn everything from scratch. However, in this game, knowing that you played Breath of the Wild, it actually runs you through things very, very quickly, and not in a bad way, but it does do a lot of hand-holding. But I actually appreciated this, because if you exhaust all of the constructs' dialogue, like the friendly constructs, they actually explain to you everything that you need to do and how to do it. And I thought that was really, really cool, and it kept it very simple, very helpful, and overall it just kind of gets even a new player, if they never played Breath of the Wild, it gets a new player into the game and ready to go. So I really liked that and appreciated that. The story also does a great job of explaining how you have to start from scratch, because at the end of Breath of the Wild, assuming you've played it, you have the Master Sword, you have the Hylian Shield, you have the maximum amount of health, the maximum amount of stamina, you know, all that stuff. So it does explain how you're basically reset to a default Link, and I think that they did it in a very tasteful way, and it made a lot of sense. So I thought that was really cool. But anyway, moving forward, the game, graphics-wise, for a Switch game, man, they are absolutely pushing this thing to its limit, in my opinion. I think this is a beautiful game for the Switch. Just the sheer amount of open world that you're able to see, the amount of view distance, the amount of quality in the view distance is significantly better than Breath of the Wild. Not that Breath of the Wild is ugly, but considering Breath of the Wild was made for the Wii U and then put on the Switch, they're fully utilizing the resources of the Switch for Tears of the Kingdom, and you can really tell. So I thought that was also very much appreciated. Also, the art style, same as Breath of the Wild, but they're definitely, you know, tweaking it a little bit here and there, making it just kind of look a little more fresh, and it looks awesome. The tutorial section is so gorgeous in terms of what you see, like the tall yellow grass, the wind blowing it, the clouds running through, the blue skies, the sun setting, the moon rising and setting, you know, all of this stuff. It is just absolutely gorgeous for a Switch game. As for the combat, it's just as solid as it was in Tears of the Kingdom. All the moves have returned. Shield surfing is back. You know, the paraglider's back. Strafing, dodging, flurry attacks, parrying, holding your shield, holding down the attack button to do like a super mega attack or the heavy attack, whatever you want to reference it as. Very, very fun. The combat is just as good as it was in the original, so I really appreciate that as well, because I'm a big fan of like Dark Souls, God of War, you know, Jedi, Fallen Order, those kind of games, and it plays very similar. Obviously, it's its own style for sure, but it plays very similar, and I appreciate that because I love those types of gameplay in single-player games at least, so I really appreciated that. As for the world itself, oh man. So basically, you have the entire world that you had in Breath of the Wild. Now you have the Sky Islands, which they talked about in the trailers, the gameplay reveal, all that stuff significantly. So you're probably already aware of those. So now you have the surface level world, the Sky Island world, but what they didn't show, at least not that I saw anywhere in any promotional material, they have an underground level as well, and it's just as big as the surface level, and I really appreciated that. I did a lot of deep digging and diving under there, fighting a few bosses that I wasn't prepared for, but somehow we still triumphed. Such a cool little zone, and there's so many little mechanics that you have to work with in those zones. You have to conserve a lot of supplies in order to kind of progress through the zones. So I really appreciated those as well. In fact, those are a really big highlight for me because it just shows you the sheer mass that the game has to offer. Which brings me back to the beginning of what I said. This game is overwhelmingly huge. I mean, this might take me all summer to play, so I had to make a first impressions video because I'm absolutely loving this game. I am adoring it, man. This game was so worth the wait. I don't even know how to keep my excitement, and it is so much fun. If you haven't already, go out and buy it because it is totally worth the money. This is the only game that is worth $70, but I believe they're not even charging that. I think it's $60, but don't quote me on that because I bought the collector's edition, so I'm actually not too sure what the standard cost. And on top of that, if you have any interest, I actually did a collector's edition unboxing on my first YouTube channel because I like to just post random stuff there while I keep dedicated content on this channel. So go check out that video. I'll have it linked above. And yeah, what more can I say? It's gorgeous, it's fun. Oh, it's so creative too. The new abilities, the ability that allows Link to grab items like using the Force and then mashing them together to create boats and cars and anything you can pretty much imagine. I'm sure you could build a house if you really wanted to. Fantastic job. It controls so well. It's just a matter of getting used to the controls. But aside from that, it is so well done. The second ability being a morph ability that you can kind of attach and morph like rocks onto a big stick. And then you can whip the stick around with the rock on it, doing extra damage. Because story-wise, when the blight happened and it hurt Link and Zelda and they got split right at the beginning of the game, that blight damaged every single weapon in the Kingdom of Hyrule. So you have to morph weapons on a consistent basis in order to up the damage and durability, and it really creates for a fun play style, and it really opens the door for a lot of mix and matching, which was just a super fun treat. I really love getting a thick stick and then putting a big boulder on it and then just power swinging it. It was so much fun. In fact, I fought a boss on the underground level and I did that power swing with a boulder and a stick, and it just did massive damage to a boss that I don't think I was supposed to fight yet. So I really appreciated that too. It was a ton of fun. The mechanics of all the enemies are just super fluid, super fun. Nothing is unfair. If you mess up, it's on you. It's so well balanced and well done, and I just really appreciate it. Another ability being the rewind ability, which basically, if a moving item falls, you are able to hit the ability on that, and then you can send it right back to where it came from, but depending on the stamina bar, it will take you as far as you can go. It is so cool. There's going to be so much experimentation here. It is, especially with that ability alone. And yeah, people are going to have a blast with that one. And then another ability, I believe, now don't quote me because there is one more empty slot as of my playthrough time right now. The last ability being the dig through the ceiling and get to the very tip top of, you know, whatever ceiling you just dug through. That ability is so helpful. In the tutorial zone, they actually have you use it quite a few times to get a feel for it and get used to it, and it's really fun to use. And honestly, I don't know the extent at which it stops working, but I haven't tested that yet, but I'm sure that it is very significant in terms of what you can do with it, how far it can go, because it is very well done. But all the abilities are so much fun to use, and the characters are all obviously all back. Pyrrha, Robbie, you know, Zelda, Link, you know, those are the people that I've seen so far, at least. And then they've got a bunch of like other NPCs that you can kind of talk to around the town. Much more civilized than that of Breath of the Wild, where in Breath of the Wild all the NPCs are kind of scattered. In this game, they've got like a town now that you get to visit at the very beginning of the game. Now, not many people are there, not many memorable characters from the original, but still, that being said, they're kind of grouped up and kind of working together. So I thought that was really cool to see, because it's like, you know, if you think years later after Breath of the Wild, you'd assume the castle and its townspeople have kind of grown stronger together and become more abundant. And that's exactly what's happened. So I thought that was really, really cool. But overall, the game is so much fun to play. I've wasted enough of your time. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate it. I'm sure I could talk about plenty more, but I just wanted to make a first impressions of everything I've experienced so far and just how much fun I'm having with the game, because this game might be an all summer thing. It is, I'm not kidding you, it is huge. Probably ×2 or ×3 the size of Breath of the Wild. Easy. I mean, it is so good. But at the very least, it's on par with Breath of the Wild. But anyway, amazing game so far, and its release was perfect. No graphical error, no fidelity issues. It runs like a dream. I haven't had any issues regarding graphics or fidelity, even in the slightest. So I really appreciate Nintendo for waiting and launching it when they did, because it feels absolutely polished, and this game is 100% a Game of the Year contender. I can already tell. And that's only after 8 hours of gameplay. This game is a Game of the Year contender. Mark my words. This game, and I hope to God it wins. Because if the quality is this good in the first 8 hours of the game, there's no way it dwindles by the end of the game. I doubt it highly, especially coming from Nintendo. There's just no way. But anyway, I've got to stop talking because I could be here all day. This game is fantastic. Go out and buy it. This should be Game of the Year. I can't think of anything else that could go toe-to-toe with this thing in the ring. I mean, it is chef's kiss and then some. Anyway, that's about it. I'm going to wrap up the video there. If you enjoyed, drop a like for me. Show some support. I would love it. Really trying to get this channel going. And yeah, I will catch y'all in the next video. Appreciate it. Peace out.